Hey there, good morning. It's 7:30 and welcome to Breakfast with Bridgett, streaming live on News 6 Plus, clickorlando.com and YouTube. I'm Bridgett Ellison. Good to be with you on this Monday, even if it is raining. I know this morning when I heard the sound of the rain, I thought I had the sound machine on or something, and that definitely makes you want to sleep longer, but you still got to get up. So we're going to talk to Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos about getting ready for this soggy day and how long it'll last. Good morning, Candace.
Hey, Bridget. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I actually like just so I wouldn't have a bad hair day, came in sort of with the hood on and did all of that just to make it in here. But
Yeah.
how long are we going to be waterlogged today? I mean, it's not
Like,
heavy rain, but
you know what? And really, at the end of the day, it's falling on a Monday already. Mondays are
let's
Mondays,
just get
right?
it out of
So
the way.
just be done with it. And it's interesting because we're going to kind of bookend the week. We're going to start off kind of cool and rainy and dreary on your Monday, but then we're going to wrap up the end of the week cool, dry in the 60s. So we're going to have a little bit of a nice, kind of yuck start, but a really nice end.
Yeah.
And a week not looking too bad. So we just kind of have to get through one day. This is not going to be a week-long event. Although, if this area of low pressure that we're tracking in the Gulf of Mexico was happening during, I don't know, May, June, this would be a different story because of the tropical characteristics. This system could actually get, not before it gets here, but after it leaves us here in Central Florida. I'll explain that in just a bit. Out the door information. This is what you need to know, folks. Monday, rounds of rain will be in the forecast. We're back up about an inch or two of rain when this is all said and done. Then by the middle part of the week, primarily Tuesday afternoon throughout Wednesday and Thursday, we're going to continue to dry out. Temperatures back up into the 70s. And then as we head into Friday, another little dip in those temperatures. That jet stream sends another blast of little cold air with temperatures back into the 60s as we head into the end of the week. So this is kind of the big story, okay? So we are watching this area of low pressure. Right now, it's moving in from the Gulf. We'll cross over the state throughout the day, bringing with it a lot of rain. You can see that the radar still shows a lot of that moisture still just offshore. We got to get through all of this rain before we start to dry things out. So as we zoom in here, kind of give you an idea of what's going on. Right now, the rain isn't horrible. It's just kind of light, moderate rain. You can see right now areas of Grand Valkyria, Palm Bay starting to see some rain, Kissimmee seeing a few breaks in and around kind of the eastern zones of the county. And then the further north we go, areas of Lake Sumter, Seminole County, we were a little bit kind of waterlogged this morning, but we are now starting to see some breaks. Same story in Ocala. But notice what's happening right now in Flagler and Ormond Beach. There's another little pulse of moisture. So with that being said, that's going to be the story over the next couple of hours. We're going to keep those rain chances pretty high, up to about a 60 to 70%. It's going to be rainy, it's going to be muggy, and that's going to be keeping temperatures at bay. So you can see here clouds and rain forecast still showing kind of that surge of moisture. I think the intensity here is just a little oversold, to be honest with you, Bridget.
Okay.
I don't think we're going to be seeing those bright reds and bright oranges that widespread. I think the majority is going to be that light green with a little bit of pockets of red and orange. Some areas could produce some heavier rain. With that comes some gusty winds, maybe a lightning strike, but the thunderstorm chance, the severe weather threat, all that's very, very low. So again, the intensity there is a little oversold. I think the coverage, though, that certainly will be a possibility throughout the day. Then as we kind of sun goes down, kind of round out the day, we're going to dry things out. We'll keep the clouds in place, but there will be a little bit of that wraparound moisture you see there on the coastal areas early tomorrow morning as that low crosses out into the Atlantic. So we can't completely rule out the chance of any rain early tomorrow, but it won't be anything like what we're experiencing right now. But again, we are under drought conditions. So this could certainly help put at least a dent into our drought. If we could rack up between about an inch or two of rainfall, that would be extremely beneficial because right now our drought monitor looks like this. You can see all the areas there highlighted in that like light creamy brown color. That's already a moderate drought. Areas along the Gulf Coast already under a severe drought. The problem lies if we have conditions that look like this and they worsen as we get closer towards April, May, we start getting those sea breeze storms. We start getting more lightning, and that is what will spark the concern for wildfire season here in Central Florida. So if we can kind of keep those drought concerns down, we will be able to kind of start up the summer season, the stormy season or wet season on better terms. I did mention though that if this area of low pressure, Bridget, was happening in May or June, this would be a different story. But there are some signatures that are now starting to pick up, albeit a low chance. But this is where we'd get the little yellow blob and we say, oh, there could be a potential development. This is what we would be seeing if we were in tropical season. We're not in tropical season, but a little interesting tidbit there that there could be a low chance that this area of low pressure right now in the Gulf could actually form into something more tropical. I don't see this becoming a name or anything like that, but just kind of a reminder that the season is slowly approaching and we'll get there before you know it. But before we get to talk about tropical weather, we'll enjoy these little dips in that jet stream. And that jet stream looks like it will be sending another little blast of cold air, not extremely cold, but certainly sweater weather approved come Friday. So as you see here, we're booking the week with rain to start, much cooler, much drier as we wrap up the week and into the weekend.
All right, not bad. That tropical discussion is interesting. So
Yeah.
that would just be like an extended period of just wet weather for us, just instead of like a rainy
Yeah.
day.
If it was more May, June, we'd be talking about this possibly developing into something. Whether or not it develops into anything out in the Atlantic is none of our problem here in Central Florida. We'll be done with all the rain by this afternoon. I mean, by this evening and into early tomorrow morning.
Yeah. I saw it. I just saw it sort of creeping onto South Florida a little bit. I was just curious, because when you
Yeah,
try to
that's
go for a weekend down there and it never fails that it ends up raining the weekend that you go. Or is it
right,
just
right.
me?
That's more just kind of like the track of when the potential starts.
Okay.
But if anyone has any travel plans down to South Florida, hoping for a nice little beach weekend, I think we're going to be perfectly fine
Okay.
here.
Okay.
In Central
Okay.
Florida, South Florida, Florida in general, the weekend looking much better.
All right. Nice. All right. Thanks, Candace.
Welcome.
All righty. Well, Trooper Steve is out on the road, on the big road somewhere and off today. But our lovely Crystal Moyer is filling in for him with the roads. Good morning, Crystal.
Hey, good morning, Bridget. I
Has
love
it
how
been a
we both
little?
have this bluish
I
vibe going
know.
on.
I know.
Time.
It's it, it's like this. It's a phenomenon the way it happens too.
Yes.
But I promise
And
Candace that we're not leaving you out.
I know she was just talking in the
Just
background because Steve's off, and sometimes I forget when I'm
I,
doing traffic. Like, oh, cool. I don't know how that happened. Did you see that? Thumbs
it
up.
was the
Was that?
when you got keyed
Yeah,
out.
do two peace signs.
Do I do? What
I don't know
happened?
if it
Happened to two
works.
peace signs.
Oh
Oh,
my
there it
goodness.
is.
Okay. I don't know about any of
Cute.
this. Anyways, my dress is kind of like greenish. So Candace and I were
And
in front of the chroma key testing it, and I'm invisible. So
it's
it
kind of
keys out.
funny.
So
They should just let you do it like
yeah.
that.
I should and just be like, hey, traffic is.
Right.
But do thumbs down for the weather forecast.
Floating
No,
head.
two thumbs down.
Oh, I got to do two
It's
for
two.
it to
It's a
work.
two thumbs down kind of. Oh,
There
that's
it
Oh,
is.
perfect.
this is what's happening on the roadways right
That's it.
now.
That's it.
Okay, let me stop playing around with this. Let's get right to traffic. We have a lot going on, Bridget. It is a mess right now along the 408. This is heading westbound just east of Mills Avenue near the downtown Orlando area. There was a crash that had the right lane blocked and the left lane blocked. So the road rangers were out there in the left lane. Hurry up, got a tow truck, got that vehicle out of the way. So that lane just reopened. Unfortunately, you can see several cars involved in this wreck on the right-hand side. And this is right at that ramp there. So of course it's going to back up traffic. Everybody's squeezing in to try to get in there and get around. But unfortunately, traffic is backed up for several miles all the way down almost to 417. So you can see once you get off of 417 heading westbound along the 408, you're moving at 20 miles per hour. Then you're going to slow down to 15. You're going to tap on your brakes. And of course, once you get past that crash scene heading towards I-4, you're back at speed. So just allow plenty of extra time. Those alternate routes, obviously, you can take Colonial, which you're going to see a big mess there as well. A lot of folks using that as an alternate route. Or you can go ahead and take Cimarron, to avoid this area. So just keep that in mind as you're heading out the door. We do want to do another check here at the turnpike. This was a big mess earlier this morning due to a crash with injuries blocking lanes. Now it looks like it's cleared. You can still see a couple vehicles off to the right-hand shoulder there down the turnpike. But the big issue today is going to be the wet roadways. So this is near Montverde, heading northbound and southbound. We're seeing some delays as well. But you'll just want to allow a few extra minutes. Of course, get off of that cruise control. I know a lot of us depend on that in the morning. You don't want to depend on that today when the roads are slick. Leave that extra space between you and the vehicle in front of you. Y'all know Champions Gate, stop and go there. I-4 just east of County Road 532. I-4 and 535 looking okay, just a little wet there. And of course, 417 at Red Bug Lake Road. Yeah, you're going to see some standing water. And I put the forecast graphics over the traffic graphics just to give you an idea of it's pretty widespread. We're going to see some of those slick roadways. Obviously, 408's a big mess right now. Champions Gate's a big mess. But we did see some of that rain sweeping in and out of 528, the 417. So we just want everyone to be safe as you're heading out. You know, it's always a mess when we see some bad weather heading our way, and it's Monday. So, you know.
And you know what we have up next is the story about the express lanes, which you and I talked about this morning. And even if you're headed into those express lanes, you still got to watch out for, you know, that water that can sometimes puddle over there, and watch your speed too, because it's not express because you can go faster. You're not supposed to go faster, but it's still dangerous out there.
It is. And it only takes like a little tiny bit of water on the roadways to bring those conditions to possibly hydroplane. So I don't think people realize it's not flooding that can cause you to hydroplane. It's just a little bit of standing water on the roadways. So the conditions are there. And, you know, you're talking about the tolls. Those cents can add up, right?
Oh, yeah. When you see your credit card bill and it's like $10, $10, $10, $10.
Is it worth it to you for your time?
Sometimes, but then if you miss your exit for where you need to get off, then that didn't save you any time at all. So
yeah. My GPS is still trying to get into the swing of express lanes. Sometimes it'll tell me to wait to exit off, and then there's no exit, and I'm like, looks like I'm gonna pay another $3.
Yeah, and it's weird that the GPS doesn't always pick them up at all. So there's a lot to learn there. And I noticed that the signs where the prices are a little close to where you need to get on. So if you are really worried about the surge pricing, which we're about to talk about, you might want to just kind of see what it says like farther back, and then time when you want to get on, because you're not going to be able to get on at the entry that's right by the price sign.
Nothing's worse than when you get into the express lanes and then you see that you're going slower than regular I-4, and you're like, as you're paying.
It's like, what was the reason?
It happens sometimes.
All right. Well, we're going to take a closer look at that now, Crystal, and hopefully people will stay safe out there this morning.
Awesome. Thanks, Bridget.
Thanks, Crystal. All right, like we said, higher tolls kicking in today for the I-4 express lane. So if you like to use those, watch out. They'll be posting those prices up on the digital boards. What it is basically surge pricing. They've been 50 cents per segment pretty much since the opening 3 years ago. And today they'll go up during peak travel times. And FDOT hasn't said exactly how much it'll cost to use the lanes, but that the goal is to prevent congestion and keep cars moving at least 50 miles per hour. The price will be listed again on those electronic signs. So, you know, watch out for that a little bit before you need to get on. So we'll be watching to see how people react to that today. But for the most part, people say time is money, and they'll probably still pay that toll, pay that surge fee. You know, sometimes the Ubers and the Lyfts are more expensive during like peak time. So sort of like that. Also this morning, watching out for the little ones around these school zones. More schools are opting to put in cameras to catch speeders. And so today in Osceola County, folks really want to watch out for that, because if they are caught going over the speed limit 10 miles or more, they'll end up with a ticket in the mail. And News 6's Angie Casada has more on that this morning.
Every morning, school zones like this one are packed with kids, buses, and parents dropping off their children. And many of them, like James Cannon, who spoke to our News 6's Mark Lehman, say speeding is a big problem.
They're going fast. We need more security for the kids right now.
The system works like this. If you're driving 25 miles per hour or more in a 15 mile per hour school zone, sensors detect your speed, and the camera snaps a picture of your license plate. Law enforcement reviews each case before issuing a citation. For the next 30 days, violators will just get a warning. After that, they'll get a $100 fine in the mail.
The warning is going to tell you, oh my God, if you're doing the same thing next time, it's going to be money from your pocket.
Now, drivers have time to adjust before real citations begin on March 26th. But law enforcement says the message is clear: slow down in school zones.
Be watching to see how all of that goes today, but of course more and more schools getting those school zone cameras. So really, be, whether there's a camera or not, be on the lookout for everyone around those school zones especially, and really slow down and be careful out there. A call for prayer this morning for the Pope. He is suffering with double pneumonia in a Rome hospital this morning, and just prayers are pouring in as he's battling pneumonia and a lung infection. CBS's Jared Hill shows us how people around the world are lifting him in prayer.
This is panic-inducing.
Federal workers have just hours left to make a decision some fear could affect their careers. An email from the Office of Personnel Management gives them until the end of today to explain the work they need.
Songs and prayers of the faithful. Well-wishers gathered outside of a hospital in Rome where Pope Francis remains in critical condition. The 88-year-old pontiff was admitted on February 14th to be treated for pneumonia and a complex lung infection. Now, the Holy See says blood tests show signs of early kidney failure. The Pope has been given blood and is receiving high-flow oxygen through his nose. The Vatican also says Pope Francis remains alert and well-oriented. He participated in a small mass in the hospital chapel with workers who have been taking care of him. This woman standing outside the hospital says her heart is with Pope Francis. Her daughter drew this picture of the Pope, surrounded by children. Catholics around the world have offered prayers for Pope Francis, from his hometown in Buenos Aires, Argentina, to here in the U.S., including in St. Louis, New York, and Boston.
He's done a great job for the church, and hopefully he continues to be with us for a little bit longer.
On X, the Pope's official account acknowledged the outpouring. Francis writing he's been particularly struck by the letters and drawings from children, saying, "Thank you for your closeness and for the consoling prayers I've received from all over the world." Jared Hill, CBS News.
A quick break and we'll be back with more breakfast. Keep it here. Welcome back. We have a special investigation this morning involving one of our own, and News 6 investigator Lewis Bolden talked to meteorologist Julie Broughton about an email scam that came up, a blackmail email scam that you really want to be on the lookout for you and your family.
They are popping into inboxes across the country and right here in Central Florida.
You've been a bit careless lately.
The email claimed to have infiltrated Julie's device, threatening to share embarrassing videos unless a ransom, nearly $2,000, was paid in Bitcoin. It was personal, it was detailed, and it was startling.
I had a little bit of a moment where my heart stopped because I thought, is this real? And what if it is real?
Julie has gotten multiple emails. They all have her address and phone number. This one even has a picture of the clubhouse across from her home with the words, "Look familiar?"
You picture somebody out on your street snapping photos around your neighborhood, and it kind of creeps you out.
I got one of the emails, and it was almost word for word the one that Julie got. It's actually an old scheme that's been revamped. Back in 2018, the Federal Trade Commission issued a consumer alert about a Bitcoin blackmail scam targeting cheating husbands. Experts advise not to engage, just delete. The emails aren't just targeting adults. There's a growing concern about how younger people might react.
I worry if, my daughter who's 15 or other kids or young people might get that and they would be afraid to tell somebody because they might think it was real and they would get in trouble and they would be scared.
If you get one of the emails, you can report it to the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center at ic3.gov. Remember, don't fall for the scheme, don't get ripped off, but if you do, email me at lbolden@wkmg.com. Getting results, I'm Lewis Bolden, News 6.
Thank you, Lewis. This morning, we want to take you out to a really lovely story here from our Stephanie Rodriguez. Nestled away in the backyard of one Mount Dora home is an oasis for sick and injured animals, wild animals, and it is the only Florida Wildlife Commission certified rehabilitation in Lake County. And they became the victim of a scam, unfortunately, recently. So here's Stephanie with more and how you can help.
This is why I do what I do. I mean, look at that. How can you not love that?
Spending her days with Florida Wildlife is Elizabeth McAleenan's slice of heaven.
The end goal is to raise them until they're the appropriate size to be released and to survive on their own.
While some do live out their days here with McAleenan and her husband,
hi, buddy. Come here.
Most go back into the wild to thrive, an end goal the nonprofit can't achieve alone.
Without the donations, it's out of pocket, which we couldn't afford to run, to keep all the animals that we do because it is expensive to feed them all and to give them formula, caging.
Their main source of donations has been their Little Bit Wildlife Rescue Facebook page. But earlier this month, a hacker took control, putting everything on hold.
So we went from 500,000 followers down to nothing.
McAleenan believes she was the victim of a podcast scam after receiving an invite to feature the rescue, something she's done countless times before.
They gave me the name of somebody that's a podcaster. I researched them. I don't want to put their name out there, but sounded legit. And then we set up a Zoom call just so we would go over everything that would be discussed. And then the podcast was going to be like 4 or 5 days later.
Shortly after, her followers started to dwindle. And when the alleged podcaster never followed up, she realized what happened.
Did they have you change any settings or anything on the call?
No, nothing. Wow. It was just a link I had to click on with the number, whatever, to get into this Zoom call.
Maybe they sent a virus or something, right?
That's what I'm thinking.
They didn't solicit money or try to extort her, but posed as her nonprofit.
I don't really understand what they were doing. It's like they took all the followers for some reason, and then they started another page.
With those followers?
With those followers. And so they just keep restarting new pages with the name of my rescue.
Now they're accepting donations on GoFundMe and their website, littlebitwildliferescue.org.
We have our wish list up there, which is linked to Amazon and Chewy. We also have a Walmart one.
While they work to boot the hackers, she's sending a warning to others about this sophisticated scam.
Be careful. Do your research. Sadly, I did not. I thought that they were legitimate, and they were not.
In Mount Dora, Stephanie Rodriguez, Getting Results, News 6.
We have a live interview part of our Black History Month coverage, and this morning we want to talk about veterans, and we have T.D. Hood with us this morning to share some of his story and how K9s for Warriors has been a great organization to help veterans dealing with PTSD. Good morning.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, good. It's good to have you with us. I know we were trying to get some technical stuff worked out. We still have a few minutes to talk to you. What do you want people to know this morning about veterans dealing with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder?
Well, one thing is that we're normal people. A lot of people look at us like we're aliens or something, but we go over and I think we fight for our countries or what have you. We have a little trauma from some of the experiences that we have, but when we come back, we try to fit back in, to normal society. It's not the easiest thing, but like giving us like service animals like I have Cooper, who's my battle buddy. He really helps me out with the with some of the
Is
anxiety that I
Cooper there
have
with you?
out
Oh,
in
there he
coming.
is.
Yes,
Yeah.
he is.
How long have you had Cooper?
Yeah, I've
Cooper.
Cooper. He's my battle
Oh,
buddy. He's
yeah.
yeah. I got him November 2023
Hmm.
from K9 for Warriors. Yes.
And so you want people to necessarily get a service dog, or how can they figure out if they need to get some help? Because so many times people don't want to reach out or think they're not going to get approved for benefits or assistance. So what would you encourage people to do first?
Yes, I think everybody should have a counselor, somebody, some therapist that's helping you with some of the problems that that we have, the PTSD wise, and talking to your therapist like I did. I talked to Dr. Olin Derrick, and she said, "Hey, I think you'll benefit from a service animal," and I did. We did an application, got it on the street to K9 for Warriors, and got a school date, and once I got approved and got in the school and the 21-day lock-in process with the service animal, it just everything else just kind of came together just like one team. Like me and Cooper, we bonded right away. Such a red carpet experience for me. And I tell you, the first 3 years here in Orlando after moving from Maryland were tough. But when I got Cooper and come back home with him, life has been so much better for me personally.
Yes.
Yeah,
And really, you're saving two lives here because the Canine for Warriors
absolutely.
often uses rescue dogs. So you're rescuing
Yes,
a dog and it's rescuing you in a way.
absolutely.
So how can
Yeah,
people get more information about Canines for Warriors?
well, if you want more information, you can go to we have a site. Well, actually, I don't have the site
I can
info,
link it
but
later.
but if you go to K9 for Warriors, I think it's .org. K9 for Warriors. K the number 9 S, for FOR Warriors. .org. I think you'll go straight to the site, and then it'll give you all the information you need about how to do an application, the process, and the documents that you need to attach. Saying that, hey, I am this, and I would benefit from this, and you write a little summary, and then you can possibly get a call, and they'll let you know, hey, yeah, we're accepting you into the program, so to speak, and we'll give you a class date. And then once they give you the class date, you just wait for that. And I tell you that it's a beautiful process. The
Yeah.
people there at K9 for Warriors are excellent people, excellent servers. They're there for us. And like you said, they're saving two lives because they get the
Yeah.
rescues off the street, like Cooper, and then they train them up for individuals like myself. And then they save a dog, and then they save a veteran. So they put us together and it becomes one team, something like a marriage, right? Yes.
Well, TD, thank you so much for highlighting this for veterans and especially Black veterans to help encourage those who might need a canine to reach out and make that connection. Thank you for sharing your story this morning.
Absolutely. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me on.
Take
I appreciate
care.
it.
You and Cooper have a
You
good
too.
one.
And thank you, and God bless.
You too.
Yes. All
All
right.
right. Glad we were able to get that on. That's going to do it for us. We're out of time. We'll see you again at noon.